Very good Monday morning. Back to the work week. I'm Scott Stanford. Now, I know you're thinking, hey, Scott, is the congestion pricing doing what it's supposed to do? Well, I'm glad you asked that question because according to the numbers from the MTA, there have been nearly 27,000 less vehicles daily in Manhattan's central business district since the pricing went into effect on the 5th. To be exact, 26,619 less cars and trucks, according to the MTA, have entered the congestion pricing zone every day last week. MTA Chairman Jano Lieber.
Everybody's lived experience is the same. Traffic in Midtown is dramatically down.
The MTA says overall travel times were 30 to 40% faster coming into the city over the river crossings. Bus routes crossing the East and Hudson Rivers also saw improvements with drive times and speed. Mr. Lieber says paying the extra money is worth the easier commute. This driver can live without the extra cash output.
It's expensive. Listen, it adds a lot of money. Like I do this 5 times a week. It adds a lot of money to your already what it's costing you to come in here.
The cash coming in from the program expected to be used to fund public transportation improvements. Winds News Time, 7:31. Traffic and transit. We get you back out to those roads. How we looking right now, Andre Ferro?
Well, not so good in Queens. If you're traveling southbound on the Whitestone Expressway right around Linden Place and heading towards the split of the Van Wyck Expressway right by Citi Field, you have a car crash there, knocking out 2 lanes and delays that go all the way back to the Bronx because the Whitestone Bridge is bumper to bumper trying to get to the Queens side. The Throgs Neck would be better for you, Bronx and Queens bound. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Well, there's a southbound crash on the FDR right around 71st Street, so that's causing delays all the way back to the Harlem River Drive on the southbound side of the Harlem River Drive passing the Triborough. That's also causing delays on the Triborough Bridge Manhattan span heading towards the Harlem River Drive. Go West Side Highway in and out of Manhattan. You'll thank me later. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Inbound George going to run you 40 minutes. There's that new traffic pattern heading towards the old toll plaza where you have 2 lanes right there trying to get to the upper level. That's causing bigger delays this morning. Southbound as you travel on the Palisades ramp to bring you onto the George is slow. Inbound Lincoln has improved. The crash on 495 did clear right around Kennedy Boulevard. You're looking at least 25 minutes. Inbound Holland is about 40 minutes. Pulaski and eastbound 139 through Jersey City is stacked. Traffic sponsored by the Barnes firm. Traffic and transit on the ones and breaking traffic alerts whenever they happen. Andre Ferro, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
I'm attorney Rich Barnes. If you've been in a car crash, choosing the right firm is crucial to get the help you need and the best result possible.
The Barnes firm, injury attorneys, call 1-800-8-million.
Manhattan, Long Island. Yes, it was January 27, 1970. John Lennon's Instant Karma. Lennon wrote it, recorded it all in one day. One of the fastest released songs of all time. We all shine on.
Better recognize your brothers. Everyone you meet.
Speaking of shine on, meteorologist Joe Lundberg, that's what the sun is going to be doing for most of the day today.
When you get a bright idea, Scott, you run with it like he did and like we're going to do today. Look at that bright sunshine coming up over the horizon now, and we're going to see all of it today. And temperatures this afternoon will get up above 40 at 41. It'll get a little breezy. Then overnight tonight stays breezy to downright windy under partly cloudy skies. Our low holds up just above freezing. Could be a snow shower early tomorrow. Those will fall apart pretty quickly. And then the rest of the day windy with some sun. Temperature will be in the upper 30s for a high. Wednesday mostly cloudy, breezy, a bit milder. Could be a brief shower or two, mainly in the afternoon, the high 45. Then breezy and colder, but with sunshine Thursday at a high of 36. Partly sunny, 32 in Central Park. Humidity, 41%, winds west at 10. Repeating the current temperature, 32, headed to 41 at Midtown. I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg on New York's weather station, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Winds News Time, 7:34. Firefighters in Southern Cal catching a much-needed break in the form of some rain. But the rain brings in other immediate concerns and other dangers, especially to the worst-hit, fire-damaged areas.
The powerful winter storm striking Southern California worries any heavy rain in burn-scar areas could trigger mudslides. Crews deploying concrete barriers to protect homes. Kari Vaughns lost his home in the Eaton fire. He and his dad getting sandbags to protect his grandmother's house.
If we have water damage, that just adds another situation on top of already what we're going through.
At the Palace Palisades fire, teams at the ready.
That's correspondent Alex Stone. Officials say the Palisades fire is now 90% contained. The Eaton fire at 98%. Criminal case against ASAP Rocky set to resume this week after an explosive day of opening arguments on Friday. It set the stage for a pretty contentious trial.
Rocky, whose legal name is Rakim Mayers, pleaded not guilty to 2 felony counts of assault, accused of shooting his former friend Terrell Efron, also a fellow rapper known as A$AP Rocky. It was a fiery first day in court Friday, with the Los Angeles County District Attorney telling jurors the case hinges on surveillance video. Footage he claims shows Rocky in a heated scuffle with Relly while holding a gun.
That's Morgan Norwood reporting. All right, what do you say we cue up the jokes about the late fees? You guys ever read Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises? It basically portrays American and British expatriates who travel from Paris to Pamplona and, well, they watch the running of the bulls and the bullfights. I mean, I would consider it one of Hemingway's finest works. Anyway, a copy of the book's been returned to the Greenwich Library in Connecticut 56 years after it was taken out. The book was returned with a note explaining the delay and a check.
My family moved to upstate New York in 1980. I was recently going through some old boxes and found this book. I reread it and am now returning it 56 years late. I'm enclosing a check that I hope will cover the cost of replacing the book.
Library officials thanked this person on social media, saying, luckily, we no longer have overdue fines. I mean, even at $1 a day, that's 20,440 days late. I'm just saying, even if you make it 50 cents, it's still about 10 grand they owe, no? Got the Grammys coming up this Sunday. Lots of big names let out of the bag for performances at the big show. 1010 Wins Entertainment's coming up next.
Cardiovascular Institute, there's no heart condition too complex for the most experienced team in the tri-state area, with the nation's highest cardiac success rates. It's why others trust us to help treat their patients with the most challenging conditions. And with hundreds of cardiac experts working together across Northwell, we're making untreatable a thing of the past. Visit northwell.edu/limitlessheart. Northwell, raise health.
Hi, I'm New York State Health Commissioner Dr. Jim McDonald. I'm here to respond to lies being spread about the future of home health care in New York. There are businesses pushing a misinformation campaign to protect their own profits. It's meant to scare you into thinking that New Yorkers will lose access to home care. That's false. Your governor and I would never let that happen. So here's what you need to know. New York State has a new plan for a vital program known as CDPAP. Our plan will protect New Yorkers who rely on home care. It will protect vulnerable people from businesses that haven't played by the rules, and it will protect taxpayers from middlemen that have abused Medicaid funding. Our plan will deliver better home care service. If you're a CDPAP home care user, you can keep your trusted caregiver. If you're a caregiver, it'll be easier for you to get paid. New Yorkers will get better care and better service at a better price. That's the truth.
A message from the New York State Health Department.
First list of performers to hit the stage at the Grammys this Sunday have been released. Sabrina Carpenter, Teddy Swims, Billie Eilish, Chappell Roan, Shakira, just to name a few. Producers say the show is going to focus on raising money for the wildfire relief efforts and honor the first responders who helped save many, many lives. Grammys coming up February 2nd, 8 p.m. on CBS.
Entertainment on 1010 Wins is sponsored by Shulman & Hill, New York's injury lawyers.
Go to hurtny.com.
That's hurtny.com.
Healthier starts here with Get Covered New Jersey. Open enrollment is happening now. If you need health insurance, get quality, affordable coverage with plan options that fit your life and your budget. 9 in 10 get financial help, and many pay $10 a month or less. All plans provide free preventive care, coverage for prescriptions, emergency services, and more. Enroll by January 31st at getcovered.nj.gov.
The Home Depot's new supply house is built for one job, to deliver yours. No cart, all flatbed, and more than a store, our supply house comes to you. Get the whole job delivered as soon as next day from the Home Depot. How pros get more done.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Oh, my friends, we did it again. I want to thank you for making 1010 Wins your number one choice for news in all of New York.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good morning. We're at 25 degrees at 7:40 on this Monday, January 27th. I'm Scott Stanford. Here's what's happening. After President Trump threatened Colombia with tariffs and sanctions, the president of South American nations says they will now accept flights of deported migrants coming in from the U.S. NYPD's hate crime unit investigating the vandalism of an Israeli restaurant in Brooklyn. Mayor Adams calling it a despicable act of anti-Semitism. Speaking of the mayor, he's not feeling great these days, so he's checking in with a few doctors this week. His public schedule very limited for now. Today is Holocaust Remembrance Day. 80 years ago, nearly 7,000 prisoners liberated from the Auschwitz concentration camp. Are you guilty of committing acts of infidelity? No, not that infidelity. There's another kind you may be guilty of that experts say could cripple your relationship. Checking sports, it's the Chiefs and Eagles headed to the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 59. Rangers lose to the Avalanche. AccuWeather, not a bad day today. Mostly sunny skies. We're going to get up around 41 degrees. Winds News Time, 7:41. Traffic and transit. Let's get you back out to Andre Ferro.
Trouble on Long Island. If you're traveling on the Southern State Parkway, here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. Right by Straight Path as you travel west by exit 37 and approaching Route 110 in Farmingdale and Amityville. There's a crash knocking out a lane. Please go all the way back to the Saginaw Coast. You might want to hop on Sunrise Highway for a few. Westbound as you continue on the Southern, approaching the Meadowbrook is busy, and the northbound Meadowbrook coming up from Sunrise Highway is bumper to bumper. And the westbound LIE not traveling very fast right now as you pass the Seaford Oyster Bay. More delays as you approach the Queens border. Now, if you're traveling in Queens, southbound Whitestone Expressway, that crash finally did clear, heading towards the Van Wyck and heading towards City Field and Linden Place. But you still have delays that go all the way back to the Bronx on the Whitestone Bridge. And here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Go with the Throgs Neck, Queens or Bronx bound. And the Triborough Bridge has lots of volume because of a southbound crash on the FDR in the 70s. So that's causing extra volume on the southbound Harlem River Drive. The West Side Highway, way better in and out of Manhattan. Inbound George, you're looking at least 35 minutes. Southbound 46 or southbound Palisades and eastbound 46, very busy. The inbound Lincoln and Holland going to run you 35 minutes of the inbound Holland, 25 of the inbound Lincoln. Next report, 7:51. Andre Ferro, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Well, you guys remember that crazy story about the state trooper who looked to have been shot back in October on the Southern State Parkway in West Hempstead? And then things started to smell a little fishy with the inconsistency of the stories by the officer. Well, there are some new developments in that case. Sophia Hall has more for us this morning from the courthouse in Garden City.
Thomas Macia, his mother, and his father walked into the state police headquarters here in Farmingdale at 5:40 this morning. Authorities say they turned themselves in to face charges. The trooper is charged with official misconduct, falsely reporting a crime, and tampering with physical evidence. The parents each charged with criminal possession of a firearm. Back in October, the 27-year-old trooper claimed he was shot after trying to help a motorist on the side of the roadway. Authorities later released the whole story was just not true. Macia was suspended without pay. Macia was shot in the leg and was released from the hospital 2 days later. Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in Farmingdale, Long Island.
Well, the president of Colombia did a little flip-flop on his decision to take in U.S. military planes carrying deported migrants. President Petro initially said his country would not be accepting those flights until the U.S. came up with a plan that treats migrants with dignity. Well, with that change of mind, President Trump says he will not impose tariffs on the South American nation. Last night, the White House says Colombia has agreed to accept the flights.
Not only did the White House press secretary put a statement explaining that the president of Colombia agreed to everything, but the president of Colombia himself reposted announcing the agreement with all of the language coming from the White House. So it seems like things have de-escalated successfully and the tariffs are now on hold.
That's correspondent Lilia Luciano. Colombia's president said in civilian planes, without being treated like criminals, we will receive our fellow citizens. Trump's border czar Tom Homan telling ABC News 500 immigrants suspected of coming into the U.S. illegally and convicted of more serious crimes were put on flights out of the country. Holman says there's lots more to come.
It's not okay to violate laws in this country. We have millions of people standing in line, taking the test, doing a background investigation, paying the fees, that want to come in the right way.
Chicago is just one city federal officials are targeting to find people they believe to be illegal immigrants.
Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove orders our Tom Holman and other DOJ leaders are here to begin making immigration arrests in the city, something Holman promised would happen shortly after President Trump returned to the White House. Chicago police are not assisting in these efforts that have resulted in at least one confirmed detention.
That's reporter Andy Dane. The agencies reportedly involved in the roundup include the FBI, DEA, ATF, and the U.S. Marshal Service. WINS News Time, 7:45.